Been a long day, y'all. Been a long day. I'm gonna do my quick story time. Well, I don't know how quick it'll be, but I gotta go run to the store real quick, so I'll just go ahead and do a story time. Gotta start getting myself back in shape real quick here. Anyway, so there was an article that just came out. I believe it was based in Crookston, Minnesota. There was some black folks. They pulled a Dred Scott situation, actually a Rosa Parks situation. But as I always say to you guys, it's the Dred Scott North. So now, it was a Jefferson Lines train coming from Grand Forks, North Dakota, or somewhere that like Grand Forks, North Dakota, or Fargo, North Dakota, going to Crookston, Minnesota, or somewhere like that. And this is on the Star Tribune News, so I'm gonna post this. And what they told there was two black folks that were told that they got to sit in the back. Now, I'm going to look into this a little bit more and investigate, but there's a lawsuit. So there's a lawsuit and a settlement. They about to get paid. I think it's a lawsuit and a settlement that's already occurred, and they about to get paid because they were told they have to sit in the back. Two black folks. And I'm assuming they was foundationals. I'm assuming they was. You know, it's a lot of black Americans that do ride that Greyhound, Amtrak, and all that. That's been something we've always done. And so, I'm going to look more into this, but that brought me to a story about Jefferson Lines. Now, I think I told you guys this story before, but, you know, I don't know if I did it on a different phone or the quality wasn't what it should have been, whatever, but it was an interview over some... Okay, hold on, stop. What the hell's wrong with this damn phone? Yeah, I don't know what the hell's up with this damn phone. I'm gonna have to get another one after a while. I just got it not too long ago. I think they're forcing me with these upgrades, and I know they be doing this little kind of stuff. Like, this phone is fairly new, so I'm probably just going to have to go ahead and just do an upgrade, because it's so. All right, look. So I did a story time with Jefferson. Okay, we're talking about Jefferson. So I did a story time with Jefferson. Jefferson Lines. And I think I told this story before. But what ended up happening was, now this was on 26. So this was a couple blocks away from my old apartment when I stayed in South Minneapolis. Okay. So it was a business system analyst position. I'm going to try to find the date on when this position occurred, and I'm going to screenshot y'all exactly when this happened. So I walk in the interview, or walk in the building, and I'm going to get some footage of the building. But I walk into the building, and I think it might have been some of the time when I had some Salesforce. But when I walk in the building, it's this badass mixed chick, a 9, sitting in the front. I see why they put her in the front. Bad. So I tell her I'm here for the interview and stuff like that. She's the receptionist. This is over South Minneapolis now. And I bring in my resume. I remember it being later in the day. I can't remember where I was working at that time or what was going on, but I was interviewing for that position. I know I could have did the position. And so I'm talking to the supervisor, white guy, probably like in his late 50s or whatever the case may be. I don't know how old he was. So we're talking. I'm thinking that the rapport is okay, or this, that, and the third. And this had to have been after I did my tech training, because I already had system administration and Citrix experience under my belt. So this was after I was teaching those classes. So maybe it was 2018, maybe it could have been late 2017, but it was likely 2018. I can't remember, but I'm going to find the email and I'm going to put it, I'm going to upload it for you guys so you could see. So I jump up and I do the interview. We're talking, and I'm talking about how I have these organizational skills and how I'm able to train people and how I got a lot of people enrolled and certified, teaching black folks how to get into IT certification. A lot of times that sounded notable, but I think it kind of hurt me in certain ways too. Because when I started talking about doing this community work, they said, oh, it's good, it's good, it's good. But then I just kind of noticed that a lot of times I didn't get no calls back. Now, mind you, I done got well over 100 people to, certified and in the industry. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to figure out, what did I say wrong in that? But so now I don't really talk about my tech training stuff too much. I just focus on the last API skills and things of that nature. So now I go in there, right? We talking, we doing our thing, and there's a siren. There's always police cars over south. You always hear sirens all the time. So there's a siren. And he made a comment talking about, oh, they gonna come get you. They're coming to get you or something like that. I said, they ain't coming to get me, because I ain't did nothing. I'm a taxpaying citizen. I'm a law-abiding taxpaying citizen. But I noticed he did that. Now, for black folks, I want y'all to understand something. When they make those little jokes in a work setting, those aren't just jokes. That stuff has layers. You might have somebody to say, oh, well, they're just saying that to say that. Let me tell y'all something. For you boll weevil brain Negroes that think that that's just an innocent, normal joke all the time, how many black men do you hear saying that to each other? Oh, bro, those are sirens. They coming to get you. I have never, in all 40 plus years of my life, heard a black man say to another black man when he hears sirens, man, you better watch out. They coming for you. We don't even play those type of games. I have never heard that in my entire life. You might have heard a Sambo say something like that. I haven't even heard a coon say that. We got some Sambos that's amongst us. But even the Sambos haven't even said that to me. I haven't even heard a Sambo say that to me. I swear, I've heard some coonish stuff the niggas done said. But I haven't even heard the biggest coon say that. Hey, man, you hear them sirens, bro? They coming for you. No, we don't do that. I haven't even heard a tether say it. Seriously, I've never heard a black person, as coonish as they are, I've never even heard them never say nothing like that. Never heard it. Now, the farthest that I done heard is that lady. The farthest that I done heard is that lady, and people it been going around the internet, is they had some police had some Jamaican lady hemmed up, and she was like, oh, bumper clock, why are you doing this to me? I'm not black American. Why don't you shoot them? I heard that. I seen that. But other than that, I've never heard any black person in my entire life say anything about, well, they heard sirens. Oh, the police coming to get you. We don't say that. We don't do that. Never heard it in my life, ever. I might have heard some black folks say, well, man, they need to pull their pants up and they selling drugs, and yeah, they need to go to jail. I support the 94 crime bill. You heard that. But I've never heard a black person say, hear sirens in the background and tell another black person, hey, they coming to get you. Even joking. Never heard it in my entire life. Not once. Not once. Not by a Sambo, not by a buck dancing, bed buck, not by a bed winch. I have never heard it in my life. So when you hear that, especially in the workplace, when you hear a white person say that, there's some layers to that. To them, it's just a simple joke. There's more to that. Don't ever fall for it's just a friendly joke, because they could have said anything. Oh, it's just friendly banter. You just take a mental note. It's going to sound so innocent that you ain't even going to, you might be like, oh, well, no, man, they ain't coming to get me or whatever like that. Don't forget. I never forgot that. Now, we're in a professional environment and you hear some sirens. Now you got to think. Black men, white men, especially white men that know you're a freedman, that know you're a black American, and they know the difference. They absolutely know. When they use terms like that, in their mind, I'm familiar. Let me break this down for y'all, the layers. I'm familiar with you Negroes. Y'all are my Negroes. I'm familiar with my Negro. That's how they're thinking. Because they had to be comfortable enough to say that they know our interactions with the police are different. They'll tell us that, well, everybody's the same, reverse racism, there's none of that, whatever. They will say that to your face. But deep down inside, when they go home, they know for a fact that the police interactions are different. Because there's been videos we've done seen where white people get arrested and they say, you treat me like an N-word. I done seen situations where you had white police go to arrest other white folk, and they've been told, hey man, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. Y'all seen some of them videos. Now that we have the advent of social media, we see all kind of stuff. You've seen that. So they understand very well the difference in the racial dynamic between us dealing with race soldiers or police in general. They know. So when they say something about the police, that's like a quasi light tap to let you know, yeah, I could call the police on you, or you're familiar with the police, which means in so many words, you're saying that you're familiar with criminality. Because there's really no other explanation. You could say the police for anybody. Now, they might try to say, well, yeah, I say that to Bob, or I say that to anybody. They know we have a special relationship with the police. They understand that. So, I just thought that was very interesting in that interview, with him saying that. So you'll see little small microaggressions, and I never broke it down to the science that I'm breaking it down right now, because at that time I took it as, okay, he's a smart aleck. These are the games that they play. But now that this happened with Jefferson, it makes me think about that interview I had with Jefferson. I checked all the dots. I checked all the dots for every qualification. But now there could have been some other things that maybe they might have been looking for. Now, I didn't record that conversation. I should have. And this would have been great footage for y'all. But that's why I say every interview now I'm recording now, I'm getting audio. Because y'all need to hear how this stuff goes. Not saying that it's going to go left or right. I'm saying that y'all want to see how I respond and how these interviews, and then you can listen to them and critique them. That's why I record all of that stuff for y'all, so y'all can listen to it and say, okay, well, all right, DP messed up here. I would have said that. Oh, he was too long with it. He talked too long for this. He did too much of that. He over-explained himself. He asked the great questions. These are the questions he asked. So when you listen to these interviews, and if you're having trouble with interviews, because that's usually where people get slipped up at a lot of times, is interviews. Does the person like you? And I could go back and listen to my interviews and stuff. I haven't listened to those interviews in a while. But if y'all look at my playlist, you can look at my interviews. Is it still going? Oh, I'll stop this. So, yeah, that's the story. I'm going to go ahead and upload everything for y'all. And we going to go from there. This thing don't